Good morning, afternoon, evening, YouTube. Hope we are well. And for those of you who follow me on Instagram as well, you'll be very familiar with my current setting. I do my morning steps here every single morning with a coffee, Greg's coffee, standard. I'm here again. I tend to just repeat. I do the opposite loop, go backwards on myself for a second walk of the day. And my new step target as of today is 10,000. So I'm here making sure I get those steps in. So as of about 4 hours ago, I received plan through from my new coach. So this is a bit of a change for me. It was not necessarily in the pipeline for me to hire a coach last week, but I always subconsciously know the right thing to do and do it. Just like when I decided to learn to drive, subconsciously I booked a driving lesson as a test to myself to see if I could just be behind the wheel of a car after fearing it for a decade following a car accident. And last week I put up a story asking for some coach recommendations for my prep. So I was looking to hire a coach to prep me next year, as I have decided that I simply do not wish to have my own physique and goals to worry about next year when I am A, putting a bunch of clients on stage, and B, just having a bunch of clients in general who need my attention in the mornings. And I do not wish to be faffing about analysing my own physique and making my own adjustments to my own plan, basically. I wouldn't enjoy doing that. It would cause me way too much stress. So, already I've asked my new coach if I can check in for him on a Tuesday. It's Tuesday today, because Tuesdays are the days when I don't have client check-ins. And I prefer, if I'm going to spend time on myself, getting up, taking pictures, sending it to my coach, waiting for my check-in response. I've always done that on a Tuesday. Did that with my previous coach who I was with for a year, and used Tuesdays as my own check-in day when I was coaching myself as well. So he set me on a Wednesday, and I just said, do you mind if I do a Tuesday instead? Because any time that I waste, I see it as a waste in the morning. Worrying about myself is time taken away from my clients, and I just don't like doing that. So obviously when it comes to prep next year, I'll naturally start getting up earlier anyway. So by the time we get to the point where check-ins are more than once a week and not just on a Tuesday, I'll be getting up well earlier than my clients anyway to do my own check-in and stuff like that. So it won't matter. But right now it matters to me. So Tuesday check-ins it is. So I'll be checking in this time next week for the first time with my coach, having implemented his plan for a week. So I'm looking forward to getting started. This video wise, I'm going to talk you through everything that I am now going to be doing going forward, which is going to be obviously quite different to what I have been doing. I'm also going to go through why I've picked that coach. Maybe it'll help you to come up with your own sort of strategies if you're looking for a coach as well. I think there's a lot of thought that needs to go into it, more so than people think, especially for myself. Going into my 4th competitive season, probably one of my last competitive seasons as well. It won't be my last, but it'll be one of my last. And the goal next year is to be competitive, leaving no stone unturned. It's very important to me to hire the right coach because, and when I say the right coach, I mean the right coach for me and where I'm at right now. And it's personal next year. I want to make a stamp, and I need the right person guiding me on that, because I'm sharing a very personal part of my journey with someone, and it needs to be the right person. So I believe I've made the correct choice, and I'm going to go through the reasons why in this video. But for now, I'm about to leave my beautiful morning graveyard and continue on with the rest of my steps. So I will update you all in a bizzle. Stay tuned. Okay, so I'm back home now. I'm not sure how long I'm going to be able to talk for. I've got some warm squash, just trying to get some hot fluids down me and ward off a potential cold/flu, which I do not want to get. Oh dear. But I suppose what you're all here for initially is to know who I picked as my coach. Now, when I say Tom Taylor, some of you might not know who that is. Some of you might. Tailored by Tom is the coaching brand. And for me this time round, obviously the last couple of coaches I've had have been the more well-known coaches in the industry. And, there's obviously pros and cons of working for the coaches who are more well-known, busier with client numbers and stuff like that. And then for me this time round, it's more about the benefits that I'll get from working with someone who is up and coming. And, that's why, one of the reasons why I've picked Tom, but more importantly for myself, I already know Tom. I've met Tom on a number of occasions. I even remember the first time we met, because he actually quite often travels up to House of Gains where I train. And, he came up to me and introduced himself and shook his hand because he recognised me. And I just find that was a very good introduction, like polite from the offset. That was a good start. And yeah, I've considered him a few times over the last few months, while I've just been in the back of my mind really trying to rack my brains to think, like, who do I want to work with? And for me, it's been about someone that I can really get on with. This is going to be my 4th competitive season, like I said earlier. And, I've had that mix of not having that coaching relationship and just kind of being do this, okay, great, thank you. And I've had a mix of being really friendly with my coach. And I do think striking a fine balance with, yes, we get on, we keep it like a level of, formality within the coaching client relationship, but at the same time, like, someone that already knows me, I find really is going to benefit me. Like, he's followed me for a while now, he already knows my journey, he already knew where I was at when I inquired, and what stage of my off season I'm in and that kind of thing. And I already know that we get on and we can chat and it's sound, and that was the first thing that was really important to me. Now, the second thing for me that I've never had with a coach before and always wanted is someone who cares about training as much as I do, and actually probably even more so. Someone that demands form videos, someone that really, really, really wants to optimize my training, and someone that's gone to absolute nth degree to put my training plan together that's very, very bespoke to myself, to my weaknesses, and literally down to the sort of exercise order of the sessions across the week. He's even gone to writing me a 4-day and a 5-day split, the 4-day split being where we can still get the right amount of volume per lagging body part on the weeks when I can only train 4 times, and just things like this where he's really gone above and beyond with my training, because I know that's the area of coaching that he cares a lot about. And the goals moving forward for the next 12 weeks before I start prep is to actually make some really significant physique progressions now, really optimize my training, and really see what we can do with my physique before prep starts. So yeah, it's going to be really nice to have a back and forth relationship with my coach in terms of sending him form clips, sending him execution cues and things like that. By that I mean, it's not always about you not performing the exercise correctly, and this is what I stress to my own clients. It's more so about, like, how could we execute better, be that with tempo, pausing, just general setup. So I'm looking forward to having someone who's really, really going to hone into the nth degree on my training, because I've always wanted that. But with certain coaches who I can see that offer that type of coaching, there's other elements of their coaching that I wouldn't necessarily get on with, which is why I've not leaned towards those coaches in the past, whereas Tom kind of encompasses that, but also like the friendly side of it. And also, like, the fact that the reason I said, like, that I met him first was when he came to my gym. And that's another big factor for myself, and I've never also had this with a coach before, is in-person check-ins. And I know that Tom's going to be continuing to regularly come to House of Gains, and he'll be able to see my physique in person, which, I found that a problem on my last prep. Obviously, my last coach was, like, quite far away from me. I never saw him in person when I was on prep. And yeah, I do find that the fact that he's going to be able to see me in person is going to be so nice. You can gauge so much from a client that you can't gauge via photos, just in terms of, like, their physique, yes, but also in terms of, like, their overall demeanour, well-being, how they actually are. So I'm looking forward to being on the receiving end of that. And that was another factor that came into my decision. Obviously, I said I did put some, recommendation requests on my Instagram story last week. I always rely on my Instagram following to kind of give me advice on anything, to be fair. Like, if I'm looking for any kind of service, I always ask Instagram. And he did come up by someone from my gym who'd already in person recommended me to him anyway, in terms of the level of care and detail he goes into with, like, health and stuff like that, which she'd found for herself. And, like, the thing with Tom is, when he was doing my setup, he asked me for my last blood work and stuff like that, which I've never been asked for before. A lot of coaches stress the importance of blood work, but from my experience, they never actually, when it comes into reality, they never actually ask for your blood work, or they never ask you to get bloods done. But for him to already be asking me about my blood work prior to coaching me, when my last bloods were, and he's already scheduled it in, he's done me, like, a roadmap timeline when I'm going to be getting my bloods done post-show, things like that. Like, that level of consideration is already evident from like me not starting working with him yet. So yeah, looking forward to having someone who cares about my health to that sort of level, you know. So that was another sort of factor that came into it as well. Things that, you know, the age I'm at now, the experience that I've had overall within bodybuilding and with previous coaches, all kind of stacked together into what do I actually really want from a coach right now. So that's kind of where my decision making came from. You know, we're looking at a coach who cares about your health. We're looking at a coach who's really, really interested in your training. We're looking at a coach who can see me in person. We're looking at a coach who I already get on with and have a rapport with and knows who I am and knows my journey. So they were kind of the main deciding factors for myself. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting back into it now in terms of setup and stuff then. So as I said earlier, we're on a 10,000 step count. Cardio's 2 lots of 23 minutes, which is essentially 20 minutes each. Those 3 minutes being spent actually getting my heart rate up to the desired heart rate zone, which is new to me. I've never had a coach that's kind of made me factor in the extra minutes of getting your heart rate up, which does make sense. New to me, but does make sense. And then, yeah, my training plan. So it's going to be push and glutes, pull, legs, rest, delts and quads, posterior, rest, which is great. A lot of focus on my posterior chain, so glutes and hamstrings mainly, and my back width, which is like my lats essentially that need bringing up. So there's like a full pull day in there, there's a posterior day in there, and then I've also got like a push and glute, so we're getting glutes extra in there. We're getting the posterior day for that as well, and we're getting a full leg day. So these are where I need to bring up my physique the most, so that's kind of where the split is at the moment. And then there's like a 4-day split as well, which is on a separate tab: upper, lower, rest, delts and quads, posterior, rest, rest. And that's because he knows that like I do things on the weekend sometimes and I'm away and I can't train, so I'd be resting over the weekend, but I'd be getting my sessions in upper, lower on Monday, Tuesday, and then like delts and quads, posterior, Thursday, Friday. So yeah, that's really awesome on the training side of things. I'm looking forward to getting stuck into that. And everything else wise, food wise, so this will be the first time for me following a food plan since like 2021, but I thought I would give it a go. I pretty much eat the same things every day anyway, so I can do a future video going through like a full day of eating and stuff, and it'll actually be genuinely this is what I'm eating, not this is what I sometimes eat and then I change the macros. It'll genuinely be like a full day of eating that is what I have every day. So training day sat at 160 protein, 51 fats and 340 carbs, which is 2,459 calories. So yeah, we're on that kind of higher marker for training day. And then rest day, we're 160 protein, 58 fat, 256 carbs. So biasing more towards like higher fats and protein and lower carbs. So it's 2,186 calories there. So yeah, I was more kind of similar on both training rest days prior while I was coaching myself. Now it's kind of like there's a bigger gap between my training and rest day calories, but it kind of balances out across the week anyway to about 2,300 daily if we were to sort of do an average. So yeah, just a bit higher on a training day. Hopefully I'll be back to training tomorrow. I've been on a deload, so this is my 4th day of the deload. I'd like to get back to training tomorrow. We'll see how I feel when I wake up. Keep drinking hot fluids, keep taking my flu tabs, and see how we get on. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful. I know you guys do actually quite like my sit down ones sometimes, and hopefully, you know, you can kind of think about, you know, if you're thinking of hiring a coach, what are your priorities? Because like I say, for me, it was training. That's where I need the most support. For you, perhaps it's like nutrition, perhaps it's someone's approach to nutrition. I know people come to me when they want sort of like that slightly more flexible approach with their nutrition and learning how to really manage it for going forward and being more flexible. You know, you've got to think about these things. For me, it was training, and like, you know, when it comes to a prep, having someone who can see me in person, someone I already have a rapport with, and yeah, these were like the kind of priorities that I was looking at. So just, you know, make sure you really do weigh it up, you know, the pros and cons of certain coaches, and yeah, you'll know when you find the right one, and you'll feel confident when you're signing up. So that's how I feel right now. Confident, happy with, you know, having someone who likes to map things out as well, because I like knowing where I'm going with things. But yeah, looking to start prep in February. So I've got the rest of this month and then December and January to kind of really just push now, and I'm really looking forward to it. So stay along, because it won't take long at all, 10, 12 weeks, and I'll be starting prep and we'll be doing regular prep vlogs. So looking forward to that. But until then, I'll see you in the next one. Do not forget to like this video if you actually watched it all the way through. like the video, subscribe if you happen to be new, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now.